All right, next case is John Gilbert and Aaron Gilbert. No, I saw Ms. Gilbert here. Mr. Lawrence, I see you're here. Is John Gilbert here? All right. All right, Ms. Gilbert, I saw the declaration from the protection order case that you filed. And I think that does change the character as to my information today. Mr. Lawrence, did you have a chance to review the pleadings in this case?
No, Your Honor. I would like to address why in a few minutes, but I have not as of yet.
Okay. Ms. Gilbert was here 1 or 2 weeks ago with a social media entry by the father's current wife that raised suspicion of drug use. The father was also here, and after listening to the parties, I felt there was enough with the social media entry to reappoint Mr. Lawrence as guardian ad litem to investigate the situation, but I did not see sufficient evidence to change the parenting arrangement at this point. Anybody can post whatever they want on social media, and I didn't particularly want to rely on that. Since that time, Ms. Gilbert has filed with this court a statement under oath by the husband's current wife, indicating that there has been domestic abuse in the house, and specifically that it was committed in front of his son, which would be Ms. Gilbert and Mr. Gilbert's son. And as Mr. Lawrence knows, and I'll let Ms. Gilbert know, that if domestic violence is committed in front of a child, Washington State views that as if the child, as if the domestic violence was against the child themselves. So what we have today is specific statements that include the child, plus a statement under oath, which we didn't have last time we were here.
Yeah.
And I think that changes the character. And so Ms. Gilbert, last time it asked that I suspend visitation with the father. As I said, I was unwilling to do that, but I am willing to do that today. Ms. Gilbert also asked that I sign an order for adequate cause. I am not willing to do that today until I hear from Mr. Lawrence and what his investigation shows. But I am willing at this point to suspend visitations going forward until we can hear back from Mr. Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence, go ahead.
Yeah, Your Honor. I contacted both Aaron and John after I received word that I had been reappointed in the matter. And I discovered that the court had ordered both parents to split the cost of my investigation 50-50. When I spoke to Erin, she indicated that she had hoped that John would pay for all of it. I assume because it was his actions that caused this matter to go forward. And when I spoke to John, he indicated that he had paid me enough money from my 2 previous reports that I prepared for the court and didn't want to pay any more money for this investigation. So I'm in a situation where there's no guarantee I'm going to get paid to do this. And so I wanted to bring it to the court's attention this morning.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Your Honor, we did not sorry, discussed that last time. And then when Keith mentioned it, I should have said last time that I was hoping that John would get those fees. Yeah.
All right, I've signed an order that requires that Mr. Gilbert not disturb Ms. Gilbert or the child, that he has to stay away from them, and he's not to go within 500 feet of their home, vehicle, workplace, school, or daycare or school of the child. Okay. So as to fees, Ms. Gilbert, I'm concerned, not in this case, but in all cases, that if one party pays all of the fees, then the other party can take the position, well, they paid the fees, and so the report slanted in their direction, or, you know, and it just makes better sense for the parties to share the fees. So I'm going to require that you pay half of that, unless you're not able to pay because of your income level, and then you can petition the court by submitting an income statement, and potentially the county can pay at that point.
Okay.
Now, as to John Gilbert, and he's not here, I can enter a judgment against him. I guess that would be the next step. That probably is not very satisfactory to you, Mr. Lawrence. What would you recommend we do with Mr. Lawrence?
Well, Your Honor, the court has imposed significant leverage at this point by stopping the visits between Max and his father. And quite frankly, under normal circumstances, I don't start my investigation until the fee has been paid, and I can talk to him about that. And so if he wants to reinstate his visits, he's going to have to at least work with me on this thing.
I think you should express that to him. I'm not going to reinstate until I get a report from you.
Yeah, and so anyway, I will make contact with him, and if that becomes a problem again, then I'll note it back up.
Okay, Ms. Gilbert, I see two restraining orders. Let me see what else is here. Okay, so I've signed one of them. I'm not going to sign two of them, and then also your order for adequate cause is here, and I'm not going to sign that at this time. Any questions, Ms. Gilbert, at this point?
I don't think so. Probably
Okay.
as soon as we hang up, but no.
Okay. I should probably set a review hearing. Let's set a time to come back on February 1. That'll be at 9 o'clock. I just want to check in with Mr. Lawrence as to the status of the investigation, and then any other issues that are occurring between the parties. I don't expect your report to be completed by that time, Mr. Lawrence. I just want to check in.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go on to the next case. John Gilbert and Aaron Gilbert.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Good morning.
I'm here.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Gilbert.
Morning.
All right, last time we were here, Ms. Gilbert had filed with this court a declaration by, I believe, Mr. Gilbert's current wife that raised issues about domestic violence being incurred or
Hey, why can't I hear him speaking?
just a minute here, occurring in front of the son. As a result of that, I believe I suspended visitation and reappointed Mr. Lawrence to review this matter. Mr. Lawrence indicated he reached out to Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert was unwilling to pay Mr. Lawrence's fee. I put this over to try to address some of those issues. So maybe let me hear from Mr. Lawrence first if anything's happened since last time we were here, and then I'll let Mr. Gilbert address the court. Go ahead, Mr. Lawrence.
Your Honor, I have made contact with both Mr. Gilbert and Ms. Wilbanks. I have received payment from both of them, full payment. And I went down, I believe it was last Saturday, to Ms. Gilbert's residence and met with her and their son, Max, and was able to interview them. I spoke with Mr. Gilbert this last Monday over Zoom. And so I have had compliance in that they have met with me. They have provided Max access so I can interview him. And they've also both paid their bill in full. So we're good at this point.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Thank you for that cooperation. Mr. Gilbert, anything you'd like to say at this point?
I'm not going to get a fair thing here in front of Keith. I have stated my opinion before. His reports, I think, are incomplete. He contradicts himself. I think he's incompetent. And if the courts want this to go any farther, I would like a fair chance. I would like a different guardian ad litem involved in this, because our interview was maybe 10 minutes on the phone, and that was it. Over the years when we did this, I've invited him out to the house and stuff. He refuses. He's went to her house several times. He's refused to come out to my house. He does everything on Zoom, and it's such a short, fast, incomplete meeting with him that, looking out for the best interest of the kids, I would like another guardian ad litem if the court wants this to go any farther.
Right. Thank you. Ms. Gilbert, any comment?
I mean, well, just Keith has not been to my house several times, but I mean, I think it's fine. I'm not sure that Keith is done with his, or what exactly he's doing. But anyways, no, I'm fine with Keith.
Mr. Lawrence, I guess I should give you an opportunity to respond to Mr. Gilbert's request that you be replaced.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. When I met with Mr. Gilbert on Monday, I wanted to discuss the issues that are at hand here. There's allegations of domestic violence and drug use by Mr. Gilbert, and that use was presented by Brenda, his current wife, in a post that Ms. Wilbanks picked up on and filed her paperwork to start this whole process. When I spoke with Mr. Gilbert, he was reluctant to discuss any domestic violence issues. He indicated that has all been resolved. and that Brenda has dropped her protection order request. That may be true, Your Honor. However, the situation that led to it certainly could still exist. Also, he accused me of listening only to Aaron's side of things, and I tried to explain to him that that was not what caused this whole process to begin. It was his wife's posting of the drug use and the domestic violence that caused this proceeding to get going. He then wanted to know, well, who was going to pay him for a week's vacation that he had to take time off of work to deal with this. And so at that point, I felt that no matter what we were going to be discussing, he wasn't willing to discuss it. He was being argumentative and trying to put all of the blame onto Aaron, who had nothing to do with starting this thing, other than being concerned about the post that John's wife put forward. So I felt it was non-productive. We would just be in an arguing situation. And so I terminated the interview at about 15 minutes.
All right.
Can I say something, Your Honor? Did Mr.
Yes,
Lawrence-
briefly.
Did
Mr.
Mr.
Cook, go
Lawrence
ahead.
did Mr. Lawrence get the police report from the night that they're talking about?
I have a few police reports that were provided by Aaron, and I haven't had a chance to go through them yet.
So you got a report done and you haven't even looked at the police report. That's what I mean by incomplete and incompetent.
I don't think there's a report done yet. I don't think he's reached a final report.
No, Your Honor.
All right,
Well-
I'm going to replace Mr. Lawrence in this case. Do you have any recommendations at this point, Mr. Lawrence?
My recommendation, Your Honor, is to continue status quo at this point. The court wanted me to provide a full report on this before making any changes on the visitation. I would recommend that we continue with that line of reasoning and give me a chance to totally sort through this thing.
All right. Mr. Gilbert, what would you like to see happen?
If the court wants to continue this, that's fine. I'm willing to do what the court wants. All I ask is it to be fair. And Mr. Lawrence, knowing how I feel about him and how I felt about his last reports over the last 4 years, I'm not going to get a fair chance. So I think if the court is really looking out for the protection of Max Gilbert, the 11-year-old boy in this, they would assign a different guardian ad litem to come out and actually do a complete report. Because I'm not going to get one from Mr. Lawrence.
All right. Well, the allegations that
I'm willing to take UAs and clear this up. I mean, you want me to do weeklies, whatever, I will go down and do it.
okay. The allegations deal with domestic violence and potential drug abuse. So the court needs some objective information regarding that. Mr. Gilbert, what I'd like you to do is what's called a 12-panel hair follicle test. You can do that at Columbia Wellness, or there may be another place to do it.
Whose cost, Your Honor?
At your cost, sir. And also, I'd like you to have a substance abuse evaluation. And that, I believe that can also be done at Columbia Wellness. It'll probably take about 3 weeks to get both of those completed. So I'm going to continue the status quo for 3 weeks. That goes to the 22nd of February.
So, Your Honor, my kid is being suffered here. He don't get to spend time with me and stuff over this. I mean,
I understand.
so I'm found guilty on something that I haven't even been to court or anything on. And my kid is suffering on this. And the police reports, if you get the police reports from when the sheriff was out here at the house and stuff, it clearly shows I did not have a problem. I took the breathalyzer. I did everything out here. And if Mr. Lawrence asked my kid if he seen the cops out here, my kid was nowhere even here. He was not here at the house at the time of the incident or anything else.
However, the declaration from Brenda that was filed with the court and was attested to under penalty of perjury indicates that domestic violence occurred in the presence of your son.
No, it was the sheriffs were here and stuff, and we have a parent plan in place, and we can look at the dates that the police reports were done on, and it will clearly show that the parent Max was not with me on those weekends. He was with his mom. The parent plan would clearly show the dates and everything else. That's all I'm asking is the court to look at that, look at the date the police reports were filed. Max Gilbert was with his mom, not even with me. So what was put in that report is incorrect.
Okay, so let me invite you to do your own declaration, attach the police reports, and make that argument because that information is not in the file at this point. Mr. Gilbert, let me tell you that if the hair follicle test is negative, as you're telling me it will be, if the substance abuse evaluation comes back okay, I want to see you spend time with your son, and we'll work towards that. But at this point, given the allegations, I need some objective evidence to make sure we can take that step.
You can't make up a week's paid vacation that I saved up all year long over Christmas and stuff. You can't make up these weekends I'm missing. I have to work. I'm behind on my payments right now on everything else. And I'm going through all this bull crap. And like I said, if Keith did his report correctly, he would have got the dates. He would have seen the police reports, and he could have verified that Max Gilbert was not even with me. It should have all been cleared up over this. And that's why I'm asking for a different guardian ad litem to be assigned to this case. Because dates, clearly, there's a parent plan that is in place, and it would clearly show my kid was nowhere around.
Okay, sir, I want the objective test done before I make the next decision in this case. Okay.
Your Honor, if I might.
Yes, please.
On the substance abuse evaluation, I would suggest that the court allow input from Aaron Wilbanks. Usually when we have a substance abuse evaluation, and if there is an input from other parties, they can often not get a full picture of the issue.
Okay, I will I'll agree to that. And so wherever the evaluation is, Ms. Gilbert will need to be informed so that she can talk with them.
Okay.
Can we ask for this to go both ways, Your Honor?
Say that one more time.
Can I ask for this to go both ways? Both of us? Erin Gilbert has not held a job in over a year and a half. She cannot stay working at one place, so I guarantee you she's not going to pass one. So I have to find it on Facebook or something? Do I have to get something posted out there? Ask her how many jobs she's had in the last year and a half and how many jobs she's lost in the last year.
Can I object to any of this? He literally is just rambling with zero. He has not, like you said, Judge, presented any paperwork in any sort. He is just rambling.
I will prevent the paperwork.
All right, we're going to bring this to a conclusion. I've made my ruling. I need to see the hair follicle test and a substance abuse evaluation. There's no allegations against Ms. Gilbert at this time.
There will be.
Order that she do anything, and we'll be back here on the 22nd of February at 9 o'clock.
Thank,
Thank you, Your Honor.